Sony's PlayStation 4 has been on the market for about a year and a couple of days, at least from the point I uploaded this video. It sold a lot of units and at least currently sold more than 10 million units on the market. But today, I'm going to tell you about my own thoughts about the PlayStation 4, having it for a year, especially from launch till now, giving you my experience with the games, the console itself, and how everything stacks up all together. So let's jump in and get more details on what the PlayStation 4 has become over a year. So looking at the PlayStation 4, Sony crafted a stylish and sleek console, thin in design, at least in scope compared to what the PS2 looked like at launch, and it's packed with a lot of latest features and convenience. First of all, you have this thing powered by ATI processors in there, and ATI AMD processors, and you've got a very solid gaming performance from that. But you've got a plethora of ports. You've got HDMI out, you've got 500GB hard drive built into the PS4, can support up to 8 controllers altogether on there. You've got, of course, optical audio on the PlayStation 4. And it does come with an accessory camera, which is the PlayStation Eye camera itself. Now, in terms of aesthetics and build, I think Sony did a very good job there with PlayStation 4. I like what they did, fits very well in my home unit. I like that aesthetic and functionality about that. Moving on to the software part of things, I like the improvements I've seen with the PS4 UI. They've done a very good job in making it plain and simple. Still not the best UI that I like, but I do like what they've done with it, and the fact that it's easy to navigate, much faster and much smoother from what we saw from a previous generation. It's also easier to do certain things like share gameplay, and I think that's one of the things they've done very, very well. The share button on the PlayStation 4 controller really adds a lot to that dynamic, and we'll get to that controller in a second. But the share function really does a lot to easily share your gaming presence by simply just hitting the button, recording, and all that fun stuff. So you can record and share in different avenues altogether. Now, and you also do have SharePlay, which allows you to create an online co-op experience to share games with your friends, even though they don't have those games, and you can actually do that with them. So that's pretty cool and a nice option there on the PS4. You can see I can go in and share with different friends on my playlist for about an hour or so. So it's a pretty cool option, and one I think is very beneficial to the PlayStation 4 experience. Now, I mentioned the controller. I do like the PS4 controller. I'm actually a bigger fan of this controller. I wasn't a fan of the DualShock 3 or the previous DualShocks initially. I'm not a fan of basically just joysticks in the center, but I like the improvements. More ergonomic, better and easier to hold. It's also better for just holding in long gaming sessions. Buttons are easier to access. Even that silly touchpad in the center does have some functionalities in certain games. Now you can use it for other things like music, watching video, fast forward, rewind, things like that. So it's got other features that you can actually use it on there. So I like that aspect of it. And I think those are the things that help me enjoy the PlayStation 4 over this year that I've actually used it on there, whether it's gaming, whether it's viewing content and things like that. And when you're talking about content, PlayStation 4 does have a plethora of applications that you can cycle from, either Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Video on Demand, things like that. Now, I honestly will tell you, I do not use my PS4 for that, mostly because it doesn't feel as seamless as I would like, though it is available and I like that it is there. So that is a nice feature and nice fact to have on the PS4, that you can also download all these different applications and also be able to handle gaming, video content on your PS4. We've talked about apps, we've talked about the UI, we've talked about the hardware. We're still going to talk about games, but not yet. I want to talk about some of the other features around the PlayStation 4 that really adds to its dynamic, and some of them take away. So the one thing you know as a PlayStation fan is that you do now have PlayStation Plus, which is of course an online service to play your games online with PlayStation. And I really welcome that. I think with PlayStation Plus, they have shown an improvement with online gaming and also getting online content on your PlayStation 4. And that goes a long way, especially when you're trying to when PlayStation was known in the past for not having the best online network, and now they're doing a very good job competing against Xbox Live. So I like that fact about it, and understandably most people don't want to pay that much for online service, but it really is a very good benefit, and I think, you know, that's something that people will eventually enjoy down the line with PlayStation Plus. The other streaming service they do have is also PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now, as you probably have seen in our review, is a service that allows you to play any PlayStation game from PS1, 2, and 3 streaming onto your PlayStation 4 console. Now, PlayStation Now sounds like a fantastic idea, but this is where Sony has set up some pitfalls. The PlayStation Now service is not a subscription service. It's basically a game-by-game rental service, and the prices differ from game to game to game. So it becomes a very expensive venture when you want to rent multiple games. Some games cost more than others. Some games also last longer than others in the rental periods. I understand that Sony is getting all these games from different publishers, but they need to come up with a subscription service. I think that would be very nice to see a bundled subscription service with your PlayStation Plus and your PlayStation Now together, where, you know, fine, you pay $90, you have PlayStation Plus for the year, and you also have certain subscription time for PlayStation Now. Since we've talked about games, especially with PlayStation Now, how about the games on PlayStation 4? Because at the end of the day, this is a gaming console, and this is something that you care about to play games. If you're a gamer like me, that's the first thing you think about. Now, the PlayStation 4 has excelled in games in many aspects, and also not in some. And I'll talk about the parts that they really excelled in first. And the first part is actually with indie titles. PlayStation 4 is a haven for indie titles. And if you're looking for something that's fun, quick, and easy to play, PlayStation 4 is that place for you. There's so many titles you can jump through and play. And this is something that I didn't realize even for a while. I remember talking to friends and people that I know. We had the argument, which console would you play, PS4, Xbox One, because I have both. And some of my friends were like, yeah, PS4, you know, there are many indie titles I like to play. Now, I'm not one who plays a lot of indie titles, but I found them to be quite useful. And again, if you want to build a catalog of games for people to check out, that's something that is really important. So, you know, you have games like Trine 2, and, you know, you have other indie titles out there that you can check out, and they have a lot of games you can literally jump in and play, which is really cool. I like that aspect about it, and I think that's something these competitors lack in bringing in more newer and fresher indie titles. So they've done a good job there. In terms of first-party titles, or you could say AAA games, PlayStation has done a decent job. Now, Last of Us Remastered is probably one of the better titles from Sony themselves in the year that I've had the PlayStation 4. We've also got the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called. And then you have games like Destiny, which is treated as a first-party title. So, you know, I played Destiny on the PS4 because that was the lead title for the game. But in terms of AAA games, I wasn't impressed with the PlayStation 4. Yes, we did have you know, Infamous Second Son, which was a fun game, but not one that I would say keep me, you know, playing for a very long time. Or, you know, you had a couple of launch titles in there, which also were cool. Killzone, which is a cool game and it works, but again, it's something that only will keep you for a while, but doesn't keep the longevity day. So on AAA titles, I've not seen much from the PlayStation. Yes, you do have a lot of third-party AAA titles like Call of Duty, which, again, most people will know you don't play Call of Duty on the PlayStation. That's just me. Or, you know, games like Assassin's Creed, which can be played, I think, anywhere if you want to look at it that way. So I would like to see more AAA titles. I want to see what that looks like in 2015 and the second year for the PlayStation 4. But I think the combination of a lot of indie titles as well as you know, some solid AAA titles have done a good job for PlayStation. I think the indie title games have really put things in perspective. Now, moving forward with the PlayStation 4, what I want to see from Sony, I want to see a more concerted UI, some concerted idea in upgrading the UI. The UI is very much improved, but I want to see it continue upgrading. I want to see, I know we've talked about getting custom backgrounds and things like that. So I want to see more of that, where you're paying attention to the user experience for PlayStation 4 users. I want to see better entertainment integration. I don't feel like I have, even though I do have access to Sony's library of movies, it doesn't feel very intuitive to me. I want to see a better intuitive layout and a connectivity with entertainment applications in there. On the other side, in terms of gaming, I want PlayStation Now to have a subscription service. I think that's a golden opportunity for Sony, and I think that's something they can really push. So hopefully they can come out with a subscription service for PlayStation Now, as well as also just feeding us more AAA games, which would definitely come, but just wanted to see that. So guys, that's my thoughts on the PlayStation 4 for the year I've had it. It's a fun console. Sony has done some good things. Sony has done not so many good things in some aspects, but they've done a good job in providing a console that at least provides a lot of indie games. There's a PlayStation Now service, even though it's super expensive, but at least gets you back into old back catalog of PlayStation games. So again, I like to see improvements, but I do like the console. I do like what it brings, and you know, those are my thoughts. So anyway, guys, if you have any questions or any comments about my year with the PlayStation 4, and if you want to know if you would like to buy a PlayStation 4, well, let me know. Leave your questions down, your comments. It's all down in the description. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Also share this video, and do subscribe to the channel. Top right hand corner of your screen or down in the description below. It's Thunder E saying thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment.